Ex-bil doesn't want me to treat his kids differently. I, 42 female, spoil my nephew Chris and spend a lot time with him. Chris is my late sister's son. My sister died when he was 5 after a heart attack as she had a undetected heart condition. Chris spends a lot of time at our house where my parents, his grandparents, husband, 2 daughters and 2 sons also live. Chris has his own room in my house and has his own set of keys. He comes and goes as he pleases. Chris also has great bond with his cousins who all consider him their brother. As far as my husband and I go, he's also our son and is included into everything we do with and for our kids. He goes with us on all our vacations, and this year my husband and I bought him a car for his 16th, just as we did when our eldest son turned 16. My parents and I also plan on paying his way through college, same as his cousins, since Ex-bil could never afford to. Ex-bil wants me to include his other kids, 2 teenage stepsons and his 2 boys and daughter with his wife, into our time with him. His other kids often get jealous of all the attention and money we spend on Chris, and his wife feels like I'm driving a wedge between the kids. Especially as their oldest son Tom also wants a car, but again Ex-bil and wife can't afford it. They want me to make Chris share his car with Tom. I told him I would not persuade Chris to share. I'm not even going to lie, but I don't like Ex-bil. I certainly don't like his wife, and their kids are obnoxious mean little shits, but I obviously never treat them in an unkind manner, and I don't allow Chris to speak to them or about them in a disrespectful manner. Even though I know they all constantly exclude Chris, purposely break his things and make him feel like an outsider. I don't feel like it's my responsibility to consider the other kids Ex-bil has, and at the moment I don't know how to deal with the situation, and any advice to make Chris's life more comfortable I'd love to hear. Ask your nephew if he wants to live with you full time. I mean, you're providing for him, basically raising him, etc. He's made to feel like an outsider at GIS dads. But you have no obligation to provide for your Ex-bil's kids. Honestly, just stall until he's 18 and can move in with you, or at least move out from that hole. They push the issue, just say, I'll try. Or if you want to put it plainly, I'm not their aunt. I'm X's aunt and I am paying for these things as a favor to my sister. X is responsible and very polite. If I felt the other children were at her of those things, maybe it'd be different, but they have demonstrated that they don't treat things with respect, and spending money on them is a waste. But I wouldn't say that for a while. So stall until your nephew is old enough to not need his parents' permission, and you don't need to deal with his dad's rude ass. The nerve of this guy. Your brother-in-law is ridiculous. Chris is your nephew, but the children he had with his new wife, and the children she brought to their relationship are in no way related to you, and are not your family. He should be grateful that his late wife's family is helping his eldest son so much, but since he isn't, please just ignore him. When they act jealous, he should remind them that he would trade the car, vacations and all his stuff for just one day with his mom. He should turn it around on them and tell them they are the lucky ones because their mother is alive and in their lives. You should definitely keep doing what you are doing for your nephew, and feel zero obligation to include his siblings. Maybe once he is 18 he will choose to live in with you full time. I don't have children, but my viewpoint is that your connection to Chris, your nephew, is due to your late sister, and the same connection was extended to Ex-bil. Since your sister passed, I'm sorry for your loss. You only have responsibility towards your nephew because that is your late sister's child, and thus you're his direct aunt. You have zero responsibility towards your Ex-bil and his other children, as they have no direct relation to you or your family. You have every right to deny any form of support or responsibility for including them in the things you do for Chris, since Chris is your nephew and the other kids are of no relation to you. Honestly, I'd have a conversation with Chris and see if he would want to live with you. It sounds like his step and half-siblings take it out on him, and his father and stepmother let them, if not encourage them. If he does, DBL check on legislation where you are and have your nephew gather evidence if needed before you talk to Ex-bil, as he may say no out of spite and a legal proceeding may be needed. My guess is, if your Ex-bil treated him right, you wouldn't have grown so close to Chris. When I read the part that says he comes often to your place, my first thought was that he was trying to escape from home. It was only confirmed by the rest of your post. You're not drawing your Ex-bil family apart. The rift was always there, and you're a safe haven for Chris. Please, continue to protect him. Chris is your nephew. The other kids are not related to you. Your brother-in-law is being ridiculous and is risking losing his son if he continues to make stupid demands of you and Chris. As others have said, it may be better for Chris to move in full time with you. As an aside, Chris is so lucky to have you all. Nothing will make up for his mum's loss, but being part of your family must bring him so much joy. My boyfriend's view on women's body types affects me. What to do? Context. I was looking through online shopping websites and made a comment about how it saddens me that businesses often use the typical model and don't utilize all body types more. These were the comments that my boyfriend made in the conversation that followed. My boyfriend does often tell me I am beautiful and sexy, however, during our conversation has told me that he would never say that he thinks I am the most beautiful or sexy woman in his eyes because he would be lying. He also believes that magazines shouldn't include women of all body types, but rather it is okay that only those with the standard society, model, body type of skinny and fit are represented in magazines because they are the most sexy, and additionally, sex sells. Objectively speaking, I am average in fitness and attractiveness, that is, I am relatively skinny, but not the most toned and skinny person you've seen. I can accept this, and I do not have the model body type. I do not believe a partner should make the comments he has to me, and I do not agree with my partner's position on magazine models. This has affected me deeply as I struggle a lot with low self-esteem and feel like I will never be physically amazing in his eyes. I have approached him about this, but his response is that I should accept we have different opinions. I should just be happy with who I am, and that if I want to be sexier I should work on it for myself. What should I do next? Oops. Unexpected asshole in the bagging area. Some people seem to think that brutal honesty is the best policy, but in many real-world situations, it just makes you a jerk. Especially when dealing with your partner, it's important to practice both honesty and kindness. It's possible to be sensitive without being dishonest. Your boyfriend doesn't care about using sensitivity with you. He doesn't care how you feel. That's the problem here, and you don't have to accept this. Honesty without compassion is cruelty. I personally don't know if I can stick around with someone who believes that advertising shouldn't feature normal-looking folks that you see in your daily life. And also be so narrow on a singular standard of beauty, not recognizing that it is not everyone's standard of beauty. For me, it's more like his opinions are so shallow, and it would be hard to even have any respect for any man who thinks like that. I generally have no issues with brutal honesty, I like it personally. However, it don't guarantee the honest thoughts won't be at odds with me. Is your boyfriend usually rude and cruel while claiming he's just being honest, or only when he's talking about your body? He's an unkind person. You're not overreacting. You're allowed to be upset or even break up with him for being an unkind person. If your boyfriend told you that you'd said something that hurt his feelings, would you be concerned and apologize, looking to make sure you didn't do it again, or would you double down and tell him to deal with it? And if you would choose the former, why are you putting up with a partner that doesn't care as much about your feelings as you care about his? You deserve better than this. You have to accept that your boyfriend doesn't care about your feelings on this matter. He doesn't think you are the most beautiful person. He thinks skinnier women are sexier than others. This clearly hurt you, but his views on this won't change. What should I do next? His brutal honesty is rude and unkind. People may objectively find models more attractive than their partners, but no one should actually say this. We understand in relationships that we want our partners to feel sexy, desired, and attractive. My boyfriend told me that he would never say that he thinks I am the most beautiful or sexy woman in his eyes because he would be lying. This is just unnecessarily rude. The guy can't even pay you a compliment? This sounds like it's messing with your head. If I was in your shoes, I'd end it with him. I, 18F. Feel like I was assaulted by my boyfriend, 22M. But he tells me it was consensual. So to preface this, I am into breath play. Like choking for sexual pleasure. We met each other in therapy and have been dating for a month and a half. Anyways, we were having sex while he had started to choke me. I said the safe word multiple times and told him to stop, but he didn't stop. I then passed out for a bit, and woke up extremely disoriented. He was kind of just freaking out. He said he thought he killed me. He said sorry and took me home. I feel like this was rape, assault, but he tells me it isn't because it was consensual. Am I just overreacting? What can I possibly do about this? It was no longer consensual when you said the safe word and told him to stop. The fact that he continued after that and is attempting to justify it is downright alarming. SSC. Safe, sane, consensual is the biggest rule in any kind of kink play or sex. Breath play also specially has an added rule everyone who does it should be aware of, risk-aware consensual kink. The second you used your safe word he should have stopped, checked in with you and given you aftercare. Saying he's sorry just doesn't cut it, and is a huge red flag. Dump his ass, and find someone who respects but more importantly understands the rules, and the responsibility the dom in such a play actually carries. This was in fact an assault. Do not let him make you think otherwise. If you feel it wasn't consensual, it wasn't. You revoked your consent and he ignored you, that's rape. He's gaslighting you 100% because he doesn't want to take responsibility for the fact that he assaulted you. Get out now. Stay safe. The fact that you don't understand what the boundaries should be makes me worried for you and makes me think you aren't mature or confident enough to engage in such a risky kink. Everyone has covered that it's not consensual. Also, he is not responsible enough to lead breath play and you should likely learn more about the less dangerous ways you can engage in that kink. No breath play is safe, I say as someone who has been engaging in it for over 20 years. This is not a kink to take lightly or let anyone do it to you. I don't have any studies on it or anything, but I would guess that some form of breath restriction is responsible for a large amount of injury or death in kink. One last thing about your hopefully ex-boyfriend. If he thought he killed you, when you came to, why wasn't he on the phone with 911? And what does that say about how much he cares about you versus himself? You've known him a month and a half. You didn't really know him yet. Now you do, and have learned he can't be trusted and is beyond irresponsible. Stay away and do not go back. You are not overreacting. Whatever you want to call it, he ignored your safe word and risked your life. Not okay. Break up with him. Don't have long-term relationships with MFs you met in therapy. Should I shave because my boyfriend is asking me to? My boyfriend of 1 month wants me to shave downstairs. I rarely do this because it's uncomfortable for me. And hair is natural. I have never asked any man to shave for this reason. Hair does not bother me. Apparently, he is the opposite. Should I do this simply because that is his preference? Any thoughts would be appreciated. Update. I talked to him tonight and told him I will not shave my hair. It makes me feel like a mature woman. It's natural and it's on my body for a reason. I like it there and I will not change it. He said it was entirely my choice and he respects that. Do what you want, it's your body. Just know that he may not like it, and could lead to issues. If he doesn't respect you then he ain't the one. If it's uncomfortable for you I would explain that to him. He should respect that fact. Who doesn't like playing in the forest? If you want to. I grew a beard because my wife likes it even though I'm not crazy about it. No, do whatever you want. Maybe a compromise could be trimming. The only advice I can give you is to stop frequenting female dating strategy or you will end up bitter and alone. When you are talking about the value of men, maybe you shouldn't complain if they want a shaved vagina. You are not the only who can have standards. Also don't shave if you don't want to, but don't expect your partner to do things you don't like for you. Think about whether it's a sacrifice you're willing to make for him and how important it is to him. If he can't deal with you not shaving and you're not willing to compromise on it, then you're just not compatible. Don't do anything you don't want to. Neither of you are doing anything bad. You're voicing your preferences and trying to work them out. Your body, your choice. I unfortunately shaved for those guys in my past despite the discomfort and realized how foolish I was being. My husband actually prefers me not shaving down there, but of course if I wanted to he would be fine with it.